Hi, thanks so much for joining me on Chapters and Chats with Erica. I'm Erica and I have always been a huge avid book fan, and so much so that it's become my profession. I've spent over, nearly 30 years as a professional librarian, working most of my career as a school librarian, and now I've moved on and I'm working within the NHS in a mental health hospital. So, very different, but still living the dream, spending my days working with books, with people, and being able to pass on my huge love of reading to others. I would say that I'm like a lot of librarians in the fact that people say, well, you don't look like a librarian or you don't come across like a librarian. I think for me it's because I am very chatty, very talkative. Once you come in the library, it's really difficult for me to let you out again. Um, and I do like to spend time getting to know people, finding out what they're like, their interests, what sort of books they enjoy, and hopefully I can help them to find books that really pique their interest. I do have a great working role. I love what I do, it's very varied. One of the things that I really do love is working on one of the wards and having a poetry group. If you'd have said to me 10 years ago you would be loving reading poetry, I'd have been quite surprised because I'm usually novels, and yeah, I do read a lot of non-fiction. Poetry has been something that I've enjoyed on and off, but the poetry group that I have is it's a therapeutic group. It helps a lot of our inpatients to open up, to share experiences, and to make connections with other people. And so it's basically a form of bibliotherapy. So using words, using the written word or spoken word to help people to see that they're not alone, that they're not isolated, and there's usually someone else that they can open up to other than a trained professional. And as I say, I enjoy chatting. So one of the big bonuses of spending time within the poetry group is the conversations that begin and the changes that you see in people over a few weeks. It's great fun. I seem to be the one that reads. I seem to be the one that reads out, from many poetry books that I carry on to the ward with me. But it's not the poems themselves that make the difference. It's the conversations that we can start afterwards. Did you enjoy that? Oh, great. Oh, that's talking about, I don't know, food. What's your favourite? What do you like? What do you really not like? What was it like when you were eating when you were a kid? Did you have the option to go out and buy sweets? What were your favourite sweets? So you're making people feel seen, and I love that. So that's my working role, and that's what I love. But I've always had this love of words, this love of reading, and the power that it provides, the way that it can open doors for people, it can allow them to see another world, to immerse themselves in another world away from what might be happening in their day-to-day life, and also how it can help form communities. I talk to people who love the same books as I do, and the enthusiasm, the passion, the shared love really does help. And so all of that crystallised into my idea of starting a YouTube channel. The idea was to come on to chat because, as I said, I love having a chat, but not just having a general chat, which it will turn that way. I know it will do, because once I start, I can't stop. But to be able to talk about the books that I've read, and not just talking and reviewing. I'm not really interested in reviewing books. You can get books reviews everywhere. You can read them all over. They're everywhere. But it's more how a book has made me feel, how I've felt as I'm reading it, what it's left me with, what thoughts, what knowledge, um, how I can share it with people. You know, I have conversations with someone, and then I'll a book will pop into my mind. I'll go, "Oh, before I go on any further, let me just ask you, have you read this book? If you read this book, I think you'll see what you're telling me in it, or I think you'll love it. I think it'll make you really happy, or you know, you might get a bit angry. And I know that you've said that you want something that really makes you passionate, and that's what I love about my conversations with people and books. It's not necessarily about how the story will land. It's how the feelings that people get from the story can change the thought processes and the conversations. And I've seen books change people. I've seen books change me. And so that's what I want. I want to bring to this channel the feelings that we get from books, the feelings that we get from poems, the feelings that we get from maybe having a bad day and somebody says, "Oh, that sounds like this chapter that I read in a book." And then you can see a shared passion, a shared knowledge. It's sharing, and that's what I want to do here. And so I thought, we'll have some videos where I'm talking about a book that I've enjoyed and about the reasons why it becomes special to me. I will read some poems because they have made an impact, or I've loved them, or they've made me really laugh. If something makes me laugh, I want to share it. I will also I will read, because I think as adults we really miss being read to. Reading has been quite a communal activity for hundreds and hundreds of years, and we've lost that. The only time it's communal now really is when we're in school, or when we have children and we read to them. But the power of being read to is immense, and it's such a lovely way to relax. We can sit and listen and close our eyes, or just drift away, look out into the distance, and have that feeling of being nurtured, being looked after, feeling safe, feeling warm, feeling cared for. And we lose that as adults. We don't often have that. The closest that we get now is an audiobook, and I absolutely love audiobooks. And because I love them so much, I know how powerful it is when you're being read to. But I was thinking about how a lot of novelists, Charles Dickens in particular, how he used to read chapters of his books, because obviously they were published in chapters, and he would go and he would read them. People would sit and listen and be mesmerised, and I thought that would be lovely to bring that back for this channel. And I will choose the books that have been special to me and read them one chapter at a time, and then talk about how that it's made me feel when I've been reading it. Something that you need to know is, if something moves me, I will cry, and you will see this. If I'm reading out something to you, there is a good chance I will cry. There is a really good chance. chance that I'll become emotional. And if something makes me laugh, I will really laugh. And so everything that you get, I am going to barely edit a video. I really do think that, from my point of view, the way that I am will come across better if it's not edited, because otherwise I will be, yeah, it won't be me. And so, you know, I do talk a lot. I do open my mouth and open it to change feet, because quite often I say things that don't land very well. And so that's what I thought we'd do. We will have book chats, we will have live chats, we will have um, chapters of books being read, poems being read, and also I think it would be nice if we have some videos where you just sitting with me and we're both reading. You know, we'll have 30 minutes. I'll read my book, you read your book, and then at the end of it, we're done. You know, we've had a nice 30 minutes sharing that time together and being quiet in the same space, in a safe space together. And I think that sometimes that's all we need. And so that is a very short introduction to me. That's a very short introduction to what we will be doing moving forward. And I wanted to come on, say hello. You'll be sharing this space with me often. I toyed with all sorts of different space in my house of where we could read together, where we could spend time together. And I thought, why not have my cosiest, safest space? And that's, you know, sitting surrounded by cushions, surrounded by my owl and my little dragon. And there will be many books that I'll be sharing with you. But yeah, my happy, safe place, and a place I'm sharing with you, and hope it becomes a happy, safe place for you also. I really do hope that you want to spend some time with me and that we can make this channel a nice, loving, safe place for anyone who wants to join with me. So there's nothing left to say except thanks for spending time with me, and I'll see you on the next video.